Hey guys, as you can see, I am in an unused classroom. And unfortunately, this isn't my first take. And I actually have something to go to relatively soon, so I'm going to try to just knock this out of the way. First question, what word describes where I'm at right now? And as I've said in many takes before, it is bittersweet. And it's bittersweet because things have been going pretty bad for me lately. I'm sure all of you have seen or heard from me that not everything's been hunky-dory, but the good news is that this time, unlike a lot of other times before, everything that's been happening has had some kind of silver lining to it. It has had some subtle bright side to the situation that makes me think that everything's going to turn out for the better. There's been some times in the past where things just don't seem like they're going to get better, or that I'm up against insurmountable odds, or that shit's hit the fan and I have no idea what I'm going to do. But actually this time things are looking good. So bittersweet. I have a lot to be excited about. Half of me is really pumped for how things are going, and half of me is really sad about what's happened, but I'm just going to move on. There's nothing else I can do. I just have to get on with it. So, getting on with this, I will move on to Megan's question, which is, what is my biggest downfall, my biggest weakness, and how do I make it a positive? And my biggest weakness would have to be that I'm fairly slow at doing certain types of work. I like to take my time. I like to do things right. So in that sense, it's good, but I know that most things in this world are time sensitive, and especially with school and with my sports medicine, you have to be on the ball. And it's really a motivator, actually, knowing that things are going to take time for me, because the better I know things, the quicker I can go, and if I don't know them, it'll take me longer. So in that case, it motivates me to be my best, to know what I need to know proficiently enough to get it done in a quick manner. Even though I usually take a long time on tests, even if I know the information, I'll be one of the last people to leave. But I like to use my time. But if I can manage that and get it all taken care of correctly, my work turns out really well. So in that case, it is a positive, and it's a good motivator. So, to continue right along, the next question is Sarah's. Sarah posed the question, what is something you've done with your siblings that you haven't let your parents know? And this is kind of a really tough question for me. I'm going to have to change it around a little bit because of several things. First, I have half-siblings and I have step-siblings, none of which I grew up with, none of which I have much contact with, other than the occasional hi, the occasional couple days hanging out. But so I'm going to have to use friends that I believe are siblings to me, the ones that you can choose that are super close to me. And unfortunately, I'm a goody two-shoes. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But I don't get into a lot of trouble, and in high school I didn't get into any trouble. I was pretty lame, and I just don't go seeking those kind of things very often. So with that taken into consideration, there's one more factor, that my parents are really understanding people. They don't get upset at me and ground me or anything, because I'm such a good boy. They're usually pretty accepting of most things that I do. So I usually end up telling them pretty much everything that goes on. I don't really hide much from my parents. And so with all of that accumulated, the biggest thing that I have briefly kept from my parents until a little while later was I took a trip to Florida, and with my big sister Sarah, I got a tattoo. It's of a Barn.Owl.Feather, a Quill. It's on the inside of my arm right here. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's pretty nifty. And I ended up telling my parents after the fact, and they weren't sure what to think about it at first, but in general, it was okay. They were understanding. So that wasn't too bad. So to move right along, Anna's question, what is my favorite movie? That is a really tough question because there's a lot of different genres and a lot of different moods that I have for favorite movies. So overarching all of those different factors, I would have to say that my overall favorite movie of my entire life would have to be Serenity, because Joss Whedon is a freaking genius. And I saw Serenity before I even saw Firefly, and I really didn't. There were some things that obviously I missed, but I loved the movie in general. I love how he writes. I love the dialogue. I love the plot. I love the characters. I love the comedy in it, the drama, the action. Just every little thing about it is spot on, and it's amazing. I went back and I obviously watched Firefly all the way through, got a new appreciation and love for that, watched the movie again, and it just added an entire new depth to the movie. Like, it added backstory and just all these things that didn't matter necessarily at first, but they just added to it. And so it's also one of those movies that I can watch over and over and over again and never get tired of. And I can watch the commentary on it. Joss Whedon and Nathan Fillion are absolutely hilarious in that. And if you own it and love it but haven't watched the commentary, do that. And if not, we need to do that soon, because it's awesome. It's just great. And so my question to you guys is going to be another thought-provoking one. Sorry, I can't be simple. I was trying to think of a nice question, but nothing was really coming to me. So my question is, what is your inspiration? We're all creative people. We all do creative things. We all write. Graphic design, photography, writing, even like costume designing, or anything, just anything that you do. What is the inspiration from it? Like, I know that we all have multiple inspirations too, so I'm not just going to be like, what's one thing? You can list several things, but what's your main inspirations? Like, what's the contribution that they have? Like, what affects your life most in terms of, what helps you go on? What helps you be creative? What helps you, do those things that we do? So with that, I'm going to say I love you, all of you, and I really miss you, and I love seeing your faces every week, and it's been awesome going back and being able to rewatch your videos and learn these different things about you guys, and hear a little bit more about you, things that I didn't even know. And so with that, I'm going to sign off and say see you next Tuesday.